Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
This is Season 6, Episode 4.
Or Episode 122 if you're counting.
Something funky's going on with this stream, I guess. Part of that is my fault. You might have noticed the audio kind of went from relatively quiet to suddenly getting louder to the point where I typically have the opening audio, and oops, that was my fault. I said
oops, all berries.
I said it's quiet, and then I had to very slow, like I wasn't gonna be like, oh no, I need to bring it way the hell up right now, and then blow everybody's eardrums. So I was like, no, let's do this slowly, to not freak anybody out. Well, here we are. Hi. Thanks as always to the Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl. Actually, you're seeing scrolling down here right now. Got one new one right here. Keith W., who's contributed at the $30 level and therefore gets a request review. I'm blanking on the name of the anime that we're going to be doing for him, but it's a 12-episode series, so it shouldn't be that difficult to blow through, and I'm looking forward to getting that done. I want to keep us up to date with how Patreon is going. There is still the DDR stuff that I had a request put in to do, but that is temporarily to the side.
Because something came out on Tuesday.
As right now I am wrapping up the editing of the Land Before Time 14 review, because I watched it on February 2nd when it launched on Netflix. I wrote the script the very next day. We filmed it
yesterday, right?
Yeah. Actually, I wrote the script on the 2nd as well, and then yesterday was the 3rd when we filmed the whole thing. And today has mostly been editing. Maybe sometime way late into the night it'll be up and available for Patreon contributors, but latest by tomorrow it'll be up for Patreon.
It'll be up by weekend.
Yeah, by weekend it'll be up for Patreon contributors, and I don't want to make everybody else wait too long because I've been throwing out all of those older Land Before Time reviews, and I'm almost out of them. I only have one more left to upload based on the Land Before Time video games. And that's about it for Land Before Time. Really, finally reached the end of everything. I hope that's the end of everything. I hope Universal doesn't just go, yes, everyone suddenly got excited about Land Before Time again, let's make another one.
Well, it wouldn't be, if they decide to make another one, it wouldn't be the first time you were complaining about the 15th installment of something.
Can we not?
No, don't tell me, can we not? Tell them. Tell Universal, can we not?
Yeah, can we not? I'd rather just not. Let's not.
Yeah,
and
let's
say
just
we didn't,
not.
in fact. Otherwise, what's going on?
We're still gearing up for MagFest, getting ready for both the Nerf War, which we're pretty sure we're going to have that Saturday there, but also earlier in the day, Saturday, we've also got the Cartoon Intro Sing-Along. That's at 9 a.m. Eastern Time.
Yes, there at MagFest, yes. And, man, I'm really excited about it because it was our first time trying it last year, and it ended up going really well. We only had a 1-hour block for it last year, but there was an hour dead space in between, and the guy who had a panel after that said, nah, go ahead. Just stay in
Just
here.
keep doing it, go.
Of course, he wanted to have a full room for his panel, which I was like, I don't care.
So it's kind of like you scratch your back, I'll scratch my... Wait, I said that completely wrong.
I'll take care of myself, thanks.
Yeah, you know what, you get you, I get me. That's how that works. But we're going to be doing it again. There will be a bingo-style game there with little bitty prizes given out throughout the course of...
Some of it is candy. I can confirm candy.
I'm not going to lie, a lot of it's candy.
Most of it is candy. Alright, I'm sorry. Most of it is candy.
I mean, because, you know, what do you want when you have cartoons in front of you? You either want cereal or sugary sweets, and we're going to be providing at least one of those.
Yes. In fact, I think we were talking about getting those little bitty cereal boxes that you can get in the big packs.
We can get a few of them. I don't know how many we can get. Hopefully we don't have to do that big of a CVS run before the event starts. Maybe the night before or something.
Also, everyone say hello to DJ Downstairs Neighbor. Tonight he'll be providing the soundtrack, it seems.
Yes.
So I'm sorry about that.
DJ Downstairs Neighbor, take a drink.
A drink from your green can in front of the green
screen. Yes, my Arizona
screen.
that I drink every week.
All right.
Because I'm a creature of habit.
Well, I guess those are some of the most major events going on right now. Well, let's talk about what our news stories are that we're going to be elaborating upon a little bit later in the show, I suppose. Yes?
Yes.
Yes. There's going to be a new mobile game that's about to hit alpha, which is called Super Senso, and it's kind of sort of there's a specific kind of word I was looking for to describe this mobile game, but it is a mobile game, but what's unique about it is that it has developers working on it from the Final Fantasy franchise, specifically Yoshitaka Amano, the artist, and Nobuo Uematsu, the composer, and I kind of wanted to elaborate upon that and talk about exactly what Super Senso is.
Yes. Our second update, we've been talking to you guys a little bit week by week as information has come out about this new, kind of sort of, but not really, hero meetup movie titled Kamen Rider Ichigo, or Kamen Rider 1, featuring the return of Hiroshi Fujioka as Hongo Takeshi. And we showed you guys a picture last week, but we've got a lot more information this week. There was a trailer that came out, and a lot more information about the plot, about what's going on in it, and a lot of it's a little questionable, but we'll talk to you guys more about that in the second story.
And finally, China apparently is getting some sort of live-action Transformers-themed attraction.
Yes.
It's some sort of weird mix between, I don't know that it's a ride, but it's an event, and it's also a stage show, maybe?
Of some variety.
It's some bizarre combination of things, and we're going to talk about what it is and whether or not it might actually be cool, and whether or not we should be afraid of going to China just for a Transformers-related amusement thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And those would be all our stories, but before that, it's the follow-ups, alright.
Oh, you're so...
Look, I have one definite job on this show, and it's the follow-ups, and I'm gonna do it.
You know, I named some follow-up stories. Are any of those on your list?
I think like 2 of them.
Alright, let's hear about them.
Alright, so let's go with the first story. For once, leading up to the less than 2 months now, leading up to Not Quite Justice League, we actually don't have any Not Quite Justice League news tonight.
Aw, but the picture's right there.
Oh, you can show the picture.
Well,
but what we actually have news for is the real Justice League.
Oh, we
Justice
do?
League nobody has a problem with.
We do?
Yes, I sent you the picture.
I'm sure you did. Just start talking about it.
It's right there.
But please just start talking about
Okay,
it.
so just this past week, really right after the show, that Friday, Justice League Action was announced, which is another venture from Cartoon Network delving into the DC universe, showing the return of both Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill as Batman and the Joker, respectively.
That's pretty cool. I just wonder what the tone of this series is going to be, you know.
Well, it's supposed to be very action-packed. It's shorter. This is only a 15-minute episode sort of thing.
I wonder then if they would dare to air it in 30-minute blocks of, like, 2 back-to-back.
That's what I would figure they would do, but we've got some other confirmations as to the cast. You're probably happy to hear this. Lex Luthor will now be played by James Woods.
That's strange.
But, like, would he do bad as... would James Woods do bad as Lex Luthor?
Probably not.
Probably not. And then we've also got Diedrich Bader, who a lot of fans know as the voice of Batman from Batman the Brave and the Bold, coming in as Booster Gold. I know you're happy about that
I
one.
like Booster Gold.
Because you're a sucker for Booster Gold.
And it's kind of interesting, you know, finally they were able to talk about it. Our friend Mark Fujita,
yes,
who is the Psycho Taku, and in Farewell Fami Kamen Rider, he was Shigeru Miyamoto. He's animating for this, guys.
Yes.
He's working on
so
this. He's
big
animating.
ups to him.
Yeah.
I was already going to watch it because... You said everything I wanted to hear. You said Justice League animated. You said Kevin Conroy's Batman, and then you said Mark Hamill as Joker. Why would I not watch?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll see.
But then,
what it's
then
like.
we got a friend working on it too.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we're so there for that. You know,
absolutely.
rock on. So we've got that to look forward to from Cartoon Network. In other Justice League news, this one was interesting. A lot of people were wondering about, you know, since Supergirl started airing on CBS. And since it's got the same showrunner as Arrow and Flash, people were wondering for the longest time, is there going to be a crossover? Will these worlds actually collide or cross over? We can now fully confirm that yes, in fact, there will be a crossover between specifically Supergirl and the Flash. This is actually a promotional photo taken several months ago before the chess symbol for the Flash was updated. But the crossover will happen on March 28th. That's going to be over on CBS. it's going to be on Supergirl's show that the Flash shows up. No full details.
So less a crossover and more like a Flash cameo on Supergirl.
Well, not so much a cameo. He is very much there in the episode, they say.
Yeah, there in the episode, but is stuff that matters during his show going to matter during her show?
That's the thing we're wondering about, because for a lot of people keeping up with the Flash right now, they've just introduced this season the concept of, the multiple Earth realms, Earth 1, Earth 2, and so on and so forth. So it remains to be seen whether or not this iteration of Supergirl and this iteration of the Flash coexist in the same universe, or he's going to go through one of those wormholes and end up in that universe where Supergirl
I would
exists.
dare say that's what it's going to be like, considering it's cross-network. So.
That's what I would think as well, because that'd be the easiest explanation. I mean, this next episode of The Flash, he's going to go over to Earth 2, so that's... I wouldn't put it past them to go that route.
I agree,
But even then, even if that's the explanation they're giving, I'm still very happy to see it. That's still showing
of course.
that they're acknowledging, yes, heroes belong on the same team together.
Yeah.
So, yes, good for that. In other backtracking to other Justice League news, so we talked to you guys about Justice League vs. Teen Titans, which is the next DC animated movie that's going to be coming out. We can confirm the release date. Digitally, it will be released on March 29th, and then the Blu-ray release with DVD comes out on April 12th.
Nice.
So there's kind of a little gap in there. I know a lot of people were able to, on Amazon, watch this last one, Batman Bad Blood, which is now available as of Tuesday on DVD and Blu-ray now, so go ahead and pick that up. Moving on to other news. Interesting news coming out of Japan. So there's the large fan event Comiket, a comic
market, yeah, where it's typically a fan-run event where people make doujinshi or fan art comics. They're not typically official comic publishers.
Now, the thing about it is the event, of course, over years has been getting larger and larger and larger, and the space needed to hold all of these people coming into Comic Market, it's just not there.
Oh, they've so outgrown Tokyo Big Sight, much like the Tokyo Game Show did.
So, in response to this, the people running Comiket have been sending out a questionnaire asking people whether or not they would go to the event if it were to be held in either Nagoya or Osaka. Which...
That's a couple of hours away by bullet train.
Yeah,
so that's pretty far from the largest city within the country and in the world.
Right.
That would be a far distance for a lot of people to travel.
Now, they're blaming this, or not so much blaming this, attributing this, I should say, to the upcoming Olympic Games in 2020, which is, of course, is a large thing that's playing into all of the renovations they're having to do there around the Tokyo area. So, the space just wouldn't be there even if they wanted it to be. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not they do, in fact, move things over to Nagoya or Osaka, or if they don't move at all. But I imagine they will have to, given the constraints of space. Okay, so moving on to interesting news, really major news coming out of the Power Rangers movie reboot. The largest casting to date has come out, because we've already cast all 5 Rangers, of course, tying back to the original characters, Jason, Trini, Zach, Kimberly, and Billy. But now we can confirm Rita Repulsa not only as part of the cast, but she has been cast in the form of Elizabeth Banks, who a lot of people know from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, more recently the Hunger Games and the Lego movie. She will be playing the role of Rita Repulsa in the reboot coming out next year.
It's an interesting choice. Not a terrible choice, but an interesting one, I guess.
Yes, of course, she's the first A-list name actor to be added to the roster. No word yet on the other rumors, of course, Goldar or Scorpina showing up in the movie, but this is a major thing. This now
for sure.
People can focus on it, because now she's more of a household name than she used to be back when she was starting out.
And now we feel like, we know, that's a major villain, so now it feels like, the good guys aren't just there because, yes, they're fighting somebody, clearly, and it's somebody that they should be fighting. So,
now, the thing I'm wondering about, needless to say, Elizabeth Banks is an attractive woman. Rita is a little older, ancient, wizard, empress, however you want to phrase it.
10,000 years.
10,000 years.
Well, more than 10,000. She was only trapped in a dumpster on the moon for 10,000 years.
Yeah, so she's older than that.
Yeah.
She's at least 20,000, at least.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know how that works. But I'm wondering whether or not they're going to put makeup on her, or they're just going to kind of leave her as is.
They're going to leave her as is, and then put her in a very similar looking costume. That's all it's going to be.
Yes, but we've got that to look forward to, seeing how she's going to look in costume. They're still looking to film later on this year, so we'll keep an eye out to see who else gets added to the cast and if we actually get some shots of the costumes, the Zords, and what have you.
Right.
All right, so moving on to some other interesting news. having to do with adaptations, referring to specifically Death Note. So we've been talking to you guys about, up-and-coming Death Note live-action things, whether they be movies or television series. Now we've got another movie to talk to you guys about, a 2016 movie, coming out later this year, which is a continuation of the live-action movies, kind of a forbidden sequel. That's the phrasing they use for it.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure what that means, because you say forbidden sequel.
It means don't do it. Why are you doing it?
Well, because
Stop!
The interesting thing about it is that this is a continuation past what either the anime or the manga, their stories told.
Mm-hmm.
This apparently is surrounding the successors of both, respectively, L and Light/Kira, and will focus heavily on the rule of 6 Death Notes, that there can only be 6 Death Notes on the Earth realm at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
This is apparently a rule that was referenced in the manga, but both the anime, the live actions, and the movies never talked about it beyond that.
You mean like the stage shows?
That too. None of them have ever talked about it.
Because you say live action and movies, what's the difference?
Because there was the TV series that just came out.
Oh, there was a live action TV series.
And then the movies
yeah.
as well, so covering all those bases.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Interesting to see that Masaki Suda, who a lot of people would know from Kamen Rider Double as Philip, will be in the movie as well. So we'll keep an eye on that.
All right.
In game news, earlier today, we got a look at a campaign trailer for Doom. We talked to you guys about that after E3.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a minute long, but there's a lot of carnage in that 1 minute.
Of course, there's a lot of carnage when they first revealed the first trailer, so I think the only interesting thing that you were telling me was that apparently both you and your enemies can perform these kind of finishing move.
Yes, they're clearly in the trailer. You can see if there's a demon in front of you, can hack off the tooth, this large fang off the demon, and then stab it in the eye, and much the same, they can just rip off the lower half of your torso and beat you with it to death, and that's amazing. I love it. And the game does have a release date now of May 13th.
Interesting. So it's pretty close.
Pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah.
Very happy to hear that they're working on that. In other tokusatsu news, we have confirmation of Kaku Ranger coming out of Shout Factory. Does now have pre-orders available, so if you guys want to get on that, there's the cover right there, of course, showing the Kaku Rangers in suit.
As usual, very bland kind of cover art for Super Sentai coming out from Shout Factory, but I guarantee they're banking more on the idea of, you already recognize these suits because you've seen them on American television. Yes. That's all they're banking on.
The set's going to retail for about $60, give or take, and it's going to be released May 17th. So that's coming up quickly just as well. Another interesting thing in tokusatsu having to do with Kamen Rider Ghost. So it was just announced yesterday, really, that a tie-in movie to be released on the next volume of Kamen Rider Ghost on Blu-ray will reveal a backstory of the character Alan, who has just been revealed as Kamen Rider Necrom. That, of course, being released on this second volume of Kamen Rider Ghost, delving into his background, what he has to do with Ghost and Spectre, and how he relates to being a writer. Very interesting to see how that's going to fit into the narrative, given how things happened this week on the show. So we'll look more into that. And then the last thing we're going to talk to you guys about is a little interesting thing. So Ghostbusters, we've talked to you guys about this update that's coming up, and 5 pictures were released of the cast. Here you can see, of course, the 4 main cast members there. You guys should be able to see all of them. And not much is being made of them because, of course, they're the Ghostbusters, not much to them. But what is being made a big deal is Chris Hemsworth, who here is... Hemsworth, that's what I said.
No, you stuck an L in his name like you always do.
Hemsworth. Sometimes it sounds like it, but...
No.
Point being, this picture has been going around of him as the Ghostbusters secretary, with many sites citing his new nerdy look. To which
so glasses?
Glasses.
Is that what that takes now? Or always, ever, for mass media to determine what is nerdy or geeky? It's glasses? Like, what's the name of our show, Josh?
Beyond the, I don't know what, black rims?
So there's a reason why we say beyond... Because we want to get beyond a certain point of...
a stereotype.
A certain stereotype. That's the reason for the name of the show, is because Black Rims is a stereotype, but we want to kind of move past that stereotype, if you understand my meaning.
Because, think about this for a second. You go back to the picture of the 4 women as the Ghostbusters.
Okay.
They're all... According to the descriptions we've been given, some of them PhD holding ghost-believing, women, and nothing is being made of whether or not they are geeky or not, given that more than likely...
because women aren't geeks. Josh, don't
really?
You know that?
Oh, I had no idea.
They would never say so.
But, you put friggin' Thor in a pair of black rims, and all of a sudden he's a nerd. Really, that's all it takes. Oh, okay, well, we can do something about that. Let's do an experiment here. These are a pair of black rim glasses. You're gonna put them on for a second.
I hate this. This is awful.
Now take them off.
This sucks.
Now, did your nerdiness go up at all while you were wearing those?
I was wearing an accessory.
Exactly.
I could take this jacket off and put it back on. Is that gonna change me?
No, it wouldn't.
I'm gonna leave it on.
I need my glasses to see. If I take them off, does that make me any less of a nerd or any more of a nerd?
It means you can't see, and you better not get behind the wheel of your car.
Exactly. So really, news sites,
like
Access
really, because
Hollywood...
this is a gender swap of
Janine
from the original Ghostbusters. Right? Was she considered nerdy, or was she just considered, the secretary who needs glasses in order to read and do her job?
Right. I mean, that's exactly the point to be brought up. Does one accessory change everything? No, it doesn't. Does the addition of glasses make you any better of a person? No, it doesn't make you a better person. Does it make us better people? No, it doesn't. We're better people because we don't support Donald Trump.
You don't know whether or not any of these people do or don't support Donald Trump. I don't, like...
No, if we're lucky, he just doesn't exist in their universe.
Well, I hope not.
I hope not.
But, no, this is very foolish. I think he's just a secretary. Just like in the last movies, there was just a secretary, and, yeah, let's get past this.
Yeah,
please.
Let's get past this.
This is a stupid stereotype.
You're right. Let's go ahead and get on to our first story, having to do with this new, what would you say the title was? Super Senso?
Super Senso, yes. So
what is this thing?
Got a trailer going on right here. There was a press release released by Turbo Studios. Is that what they're called? They're called Turbo. Turbo is the name of the studio.
I guess it's fair to call them Turbo Studios.
They didn't launch until 2013, so
they're relatively young.
Yeah, they're a relatively recent company. Launched kind of partnership between Western and Japanese game developers. I'm not very familiar with any other games that they've done, really. Like, if I look at their game list, so far it just looks like Super Senso. This might be their one big launch. However, what's kind of interesting is that somehow they managed to wrangle in the assistance of Amano Uematsu, the famous video game composer, who most notably has composed for the Final Fantasy franchise, and also from the Final Fantasy franchise and other things, is artist Yoshitaka Amano, who not only did he do, of course, Final Fantasy art, but also, like, the character designs of Gatchaman. When he was, like, 16, he was animating on Gatchaman, and Gatchaman is friggin' old. I guess he was also working on Speed Racer for a little while, and very well known for Vampire Hunter D.
Oh, the art on all of those novels. I love his art on that.
He's the character designer for all those movies. So
yes.
D is his character, at least his design. In fact, I think it's kind of interesting. So this game, it's a mobile game. You can kind of see from the trailer here. It's a mobile game where you're controlling mechs for some reason, and they want to turn this into something of a trying to figure out exactly what phrasing they were using. An esports driven mobile title.
So something that you can play competitively?
That's what it sounds like. In fact, I'm looking at the website here for Super Senso, and they have, for example, community and streamers. This is about to go into alpha, but they have, like, professional streamers to stream this game in the near future, I suppose. I don't actually know any of the names of any of these people. I'm just gonna read 3 of them off, like DZ Live, Xenotech, and Commander Alex. I don't know who any of them are.
Well, he's a commander.
Oh, well, clearly we need to follow his orders. So they're really expecting this to be competitive. I really would have loved to have shared with you, actually, this track, the Super Senso theme song that Nobuo Uematsu composed, but I really also do not want to be flagged in the middle of this stream on YouTube and have this torn down while we're working.
That would be terrible.
However, I can share with you some pictures that Yoshitaka Amano has drawn. Like, for example, there's this mech right here that looks...
It looks like Magitech.
It very plainly looks like Magitech armor, and here it is 3D rendered.
Okay, that really looks like Magitech.
It is called Amano Tech 5000.
5,000. Amano Tech 5000.
The Amano Tech 5000.
Wow.
So,
I'll take not trying that hard for 600, Alex.
But it's kind of interesting, apparently, how this all came together. This partnership all came together. This apparently was a couple years back. A guy by the name of James. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Milk. Maybe. He just approached Nobuo Uematsu for just a random interview. And then asked Nobuo to compose him a song for his own wedding. And Nobuo, like, on the spot was like, okay, and plunked something out for him. And then they became friends. And then Nobuo's wife and James's wife also became pretty good friends with each other. And so he's like, yeah, we're friends now, so I thought I'd do him a solid. That is how this...
Man, that's how you make friends and influence people right there. Like, really think about how bold of a move that is. Hey man, you're like this awesome, legendary composer of all these classic Final Fantasy games. Can you do something for my wedding? We just met, but can you do something for my wedding? Okay, I can do that, because that's how he talks. And then
it is. He's not lying.
And then it's like their wives become friends, and like what they're having, play dates and stuff. It's like, hey, so like your wife likes my wife, and they go hang out. You want to work on a game? Was that the simple progression right there?
I sort of get the idea that Nobuo is really chill. Like
he must be that
You
chill.
remember we've seen him in concert
several
of times
by this point.
as he performed in his band, the Earthbound Papas.
Yes.
And he comes out on stage and he's just the happiest late middle-aged man. Just so smiling and so happy, and is all like, I love Samuel Adams.
And steak.
Yeah, the and steak thing is from a completely different Q&A from the Samuel Adams thing. But he just seems so happy and so chill, and he just must love to work with people no matter what. I
guess, or maybe the man just loves composing that much that it was like, oh yeah, I'll take that chance to compose. Yo, you want to give me another chance? Yeah, here we go. Take it.
I can't get the music out of my head fast enough. I mean, let's go. So that's how this is coming about. You can sign up for the alpha of this game right now. It's over at...
Wait, hold on. So that's his story for Uematsu. What about Amano? Did he just have lunch with him or something?
I have to imagine that after all of these people who worked together on Final Fantasy for so long, that they must just know each other. I know for a fact that Hironobu Sakaguchi and Nobuo Uematsu are, like, tight, super tight, like, best buds. I think they just kind of hang out all the time, and that conversation must have been like, hey, like, can you get Yoshitaka Amano to help us out?
You think he asked? Well, okay, there's two ways of looking at this. One, he asked him, like, hey, since you're being so chill about this with the music, thanks, by the way, can you call up your friend Amano? That'd be so awesome, man, if you could get in on this. Because I know he's really cool with that stuff. He can even have the robots named after him.
It's just so funny. Do you remember back a few years ago, Yoshitaka Amano came to Texas and came to Houston for a local...
I was there. I
for
remember
a local
that.
convention, OniCon, and I felt so good. I got to ask him the very first question during the Q&A. It was awesome. But somebody asked him a question like, hey, how did you get the inspiration to do the art for X, Y, and Z, whatever it was? And he sits back, and his legs are crossed, and his hands kind of here up on his face, and he's just like, I don't remember anything. I do so much work. I can't remember my motivation for anything. He just does whatever because he gets paid. I don't think it was that hard.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go off off the deep end, like maybe he couldn't get a hold of Amano, so he just built an altar and then sacrificed a bunch of beads to it, and then a bunch of beads and sequins, and then they all went up in flames, and then poof, Amano showed up.
In any case, so like I'm looking at it looks like it could be an interesting grid-based battle system. Obviously it's versus. I'm sure there must be a single player mode, but clearly their intent is to do this multiplayer or to have streaming tournament style events, and also apparently from the trailer, and cats. Like there's these
People love cats.
There's these flying, like you're not seeing it right now on screen, but you will in a little bit, and you probably have already, these cats that have helicopter blades and jetpacks attached to their backs, like right here, right? And cats.
Yeah, there's a cat with a jetpack.
And a cat with a helicopter blade sticking out of his back. So, no word on what story, if any, there is to this bizarre universe of fighting robots and cats with jetpacks.
For the record, Amano is not the belt guy.
No, Amano is the bead, baubles and beads guy.
Yeah.
Tetsuya Nomura is the belt and zipper guy. Yoshitaka Amano is baubles and beads.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always got to make that separation between the two.
Yeah, they're both crazy in their own respective attributes, but they are separate attributes.
Separate kinds of crazy.
Completely different kinds of crazy. But you can sign up for the alpha. It's going to be, or is it open beta? It's going to be public beta. Sign-ups for that is now...
supersenso.com.
Yeah, you go to the website, you go to the news section, scroll all the way down to the middle.
All the way down to the middle, yes.
And type in your email address. And there's just all of this language that suggests how chill and slangy this whole game is, with a certain flavor of attitude, like, look how kick-ass we are. So it's interesting.
Well, you'd have a little bit of swagger too if you knew you freaking had Amano and Uematsu working on your team.
So it looks like this is going to be available for Apple products, iPad and iPhone, as well as Android. So you've got cross mobile platform going on there. It's really about it for now, because otherwise there's not much left that they have open to the public. Not much left to learn about them, but hopefully I would love to hear more about them in the future. I think that would be great.
And hear more of the music.
And I want to hear a lot more of the music. Yes.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to our second story of the evening surrounding this latest movie coming out of Toei, Kamen Rider Ichigo, or Kamen Rider 1. The movie, or new movie, or however you want to refer to it.
Kamen Rider #1.
Yes. So here you're looking at the poster for the movie, featuring Kamen Rider Ghost in his Tokon boost form, as well as Kamen Rider Spectre. And in the middle there, looking huge as all hell, is the revamped Kamen Rider 1.
We got a lot of primary colors going on.
Yeah,
on this poster.
I imagine that's why they put Ghost in his upgraded form. That way they could get the red, green, blue going on. Like, they did that on purpose.
I'm sure, yeah. It looks much more pleasing to the eye with yellow in the background also. So.
Exactly, because if he was in his basic orange and black form, then he would have kind of blended into the background. Mm-hmm. But that's, color theory aside, that's besides the point.
Yeah.
So now there's a little bit of footage out showing the return of Hiroshi Fujioka back as the titular writer, reprising his role from 1971 of Hongo Takeshi, which he has done before in a previous team-up movie. And now, the interesting thing being, in that team-up movie with Gaim and all the other writers, is that he transformed into the more recognizable form of Kamen Rider 1.
Uh-huh.
Which, of course, is the classic-looking, now very recognizable silver boots, silver gloves, 2 white stripes down the arm, and the classic green helmet.
And very obviously bulky chest padding that looks like, we just took a whole bunch of foam and then strapped it with Velcro around his back.
Yeah, but that's the look it's been since the early 1970s, and people haven't really complained much about it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. But even then, if you wanted it fixed, the thing about it is there was the retelling of that story almost, I guess it was 11 years ago now, back in 2005 with the release of Kamen Rider the First, which is...
fantastic suit design, but kind of dragging story retelling.
Much the same as its sequel, Kamen Rider the Next, which includes the introduction of a very odd Kamen Rider V3. But the suits, if you were going to upgrade the suits, and I've said this before, that more simplistic design where it's a little closer to the body, using leather and, more fiberglass helmet, that's fine. That's really all you need.
Yeah.
A lot of people were saying if they had gotten to make another movie, hopefully they would have kept those designs and then just given them the right colors. Here they seem to be going back to the Sakura-jima color scheme, which fans of the show would know is the second color scheme in the show, because originally he was a very light kind of teal blue,
yes,
then going to this darker green, and then finally to the one everybody knows with the silver and green.
Yes.
Why they decided to go with this particular color scheme, I'm not sure of. But what we do know now is...
I think it seems the most prominent to this generation. A lot of green would be most well known to a younger audience who doesn't know much about the original Kamen Rider, but has occasionally seen him show up in other stuff.
The odd thing about it is, now admittedly, we having seen Hiroshi Fujioka in person, we were in Japan.
Completely shockingly, like we weren't expecting it, but suddenly as we were getting on the plane, we realized he was going to be in the same place we were, so that was amazing.
Yes. But he's not a small man. He is barrel-chested as all hell. He's muscle. He is kept up with himself.
And he's like 69, right?
Thereabouts, yes.
He's about 69 years old, yeah.
And so, along with this picture, we've also got several pictures from the set showing him in action. They're riding this newest updated Cyclone, his, signature vehicle there.
Yeah.
And he's seeming to do a lot of his own stunts again, which famously kind of got him in trouble.
Kind of shattered his legs in the very first season in 1971. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see that he's back here. We do know the plot now, which is that he's come back from abroad to Japan to protect Tachibana Tobei's granddaughter. Tachibana Tobei, of course, being his mentor from the original series. From the original series to Kamen Rider Stronger, who was kind of the overseer of the riders, mentor, gave advice, helped, them infiltrate Shocker there then and again. And now Shocker, of course, is making a return, because you can't have the original Kamen Rider without the original Shocker. But seeing
without the original bad group of dudes, yes.
But along with Kamen Rider Ichigo getting an update, Shocker is getting an update. So now he's going to be dealing with not just Shocker, but this other offshoot called Nova Shocker.
Oh, we gotta just make him bigger and badder.
That's what we gotta do every time. And we have a list of actors playing the heads of Nova Shocker, such as Tsuyoshi Abe, Kozo Takeda, and most notably Nao Nagasawa, who a lot of people would know from Ninpu Sentai Hurricaneger as Hurricane Blue, or from her appearance in Kamen Rider Double. And looking at this, I'm wondering, because for the last couple of years they've had these superhero Tyson or superhero war crossover movies
where they basically pit two superheroes in the same movie, not necessarily against each other. Maybe for about 5 minutes they're like, I don't know you, I don't know you. Well, since we don't know each other, let's fight for a second. Oh no, wait, we both need to go up against the real bad dude. Okay, now this is the end of the movie where we're teamed up together even though we don't know each other, and we're gonna fight evil.
And we won, and we shake hands, and everything's cool. And then
we go our separate ways and kind of forget about each other. That's how that goes.
Now, the interesting thing about it is this particular movie isn't necessarily billed as a superhero Tyson, more as a just straight-out Kamen Rider movie, much like last year's Kamen Rider 3. Now, the interesting thing about it is they haven't confirmed it yet, but there have been rumors from set pictures saying that Kamen Rider 3 will show up again, which is an interesting theory, seeing as he kind of disappeared at the end of the last movie.
Yeah, but it's Toei. They're gonna retcon whatever the hell they want. Yeah.
Right.
I have a question, actually.
Yes.
To kind of parlay this into an American example of making alterations to suits. Take Power Rangers, for example.
Yes.
I mean, do you think this is any better or worse than when Power Rangers, the movie, came out, and they kind of took the core idea of what the Zyuranger suits were, and then like extra padded them and extra pleathered them.
Well, that's a good point to bring up, because that's essentially the same thing that they're doing here. You're absolutely right about that. The interesting thing about it is that we're the what we'll consider the Zyuranger suits going into what I think we can fully call Power Ranger suits, because those are
here. American suits, plainly.
Right.
Plainly American, never showed up.
You can still very much see the similarities between the color schemes and whatnot. There was just interesting things they kind of forgot about the designs that I think could have related better on screen, like a little bit more white on certain costumes, or not so much white on specifically the White Ranger's costume. You know, having a white belt on a white costume, it disappears.
Yeah.
You know, whereas in the show it's a gold belt,
yeah.
which I imagine they should have kept. I don't know what, I guess they were trying to go for more of a uniform look there.
Mm-hmm.
But going into this, the interesting thing to point out that I've been pointing out for at least the last 2 weeks now is that they've added so much more bulk to the suit that doesn't necessarily seem to be there. Now, I don't know where you're coming from with, maybe you want the audience or the kids to kind of buy in a little more that he is this guy in the suit and that he's actually in there fighting off the bad guys.
It does seem like Hiroshi Fujioka is super prominent in this movie. Himself, the actor, not just a simple cameo and then he's gone. You know?
Right, as opposed to the last movie where he wasn't there for the total of the movie, but he was there enough to have his presence felt. But I don't understand how you're going to justify going from the classic suit, which people have known since the 70s till now, to this thing, which I admittedly outright say I'm not completely a fan of.
Then, actually, would you compare, since we were talking about the Power Rangers movie suits, would you compare, say, Kamen Rider the first suit closer as an alteration of the original Kamen Rider's suit?
I would say that would be a closer update.
Yeah.
You know, adaptation to it.
And then this overshoots both of those
Yes.
properties and just goes straight into territory.
Well, yeah, because the thing about it is when you compare it, and I guess I should have given you a picture of it to load, when you compare the original suit, you know, the classic silver glove, silver boot look, to the first suits, or even the original episode 1 suit to the first suit, there's a noticeable, I notice, okay, the colors stop here. The padding's only this much. We can clearly see it's a man in a suit, and he doesn't need all this padding. He's just the guy in there doing it. There's something a little bit more relatable about it, whereas here, I've seen some people say online, it looks like Rob Liefeld got a hold of the design, and then just went to town on it, and I was just this big old hulking, get out of my way, I took my roids, and I'm gonna destroy evil. Like, we don't need that. That's not what... I don't think that's what made that particular character notable.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Because when you come back to it, like, who are they appealing to with this design? I imagine they're trying to appeal more to modern fans that are used to more of what I call the Heisei sensibilities of more armor, more design, more little details on the costume.
Because really, I mean, it's obvious to say that it's been, 40, how many years?
45 years, because this is an anniversary.
It's been 45 years since the first Rider came out, and he was very, very simple, not just in costume, but the story was very, very simple, the stunt work, his abilities. By comparison, he doesn't do nearly as much. Yet I kind of like it that way, because I feel like he gets a friggin' hell of a lot done without needing all these extra toys and bells and whistles and all these sound effects.
And that's just Kamen Rider Forza.
And gimmicks and takes extra time.
But see, I completely agree with that, because when you look here, especially at this picture where he's riding through these new Nova Shocker soldiers, it looks like the belt, which was a very simple, just a red belt with a buckle on it, which is still the complaint I have back in that last...
and he's wind-powered.
So
the wind blows through the boat, and then he's a different dude. Well, he's the same dude, but in different armor.
Right. But the thing about it is, it looks like he's supposed to have now bells and whistles, and he can do extra stuff.
I'd rather he didn't.
I would rather he didn't, because he hasn't needed it.
No.
He's never needed it up to this
His
point.
kicks are strong enough on their own to just win.
Exactly.
That's what makes him him.
Because I think
he's a little like One Punch Man, except it does take him a few more extra punches than One Punch Man. But I mean, think about it for a second. All the other characters in One Punch Man need to do 80 bajillion different things to be able to come not even halfway near as powerful as One Punch Man. But then Saitama, One Punch Man, just needs to do like a couple really simple things, and then the fight's over. And that means he's amazingly, freakishly powerful. That is my mentality on who the original Kamen Rider is.
Here's the thing I'm seeing, and I'll try to wrap it up here, is that when it comes down to it, when you compare him to all the other major tokusatsu franchises, compared to Super Sentai or Ultraman, to date, considering that these are all anniversary years, The original Ultraman shows back up. They haven't had to redesign the costume. They've made it with better materials, but it is still the same design for Ultraman. When it comes to Aka Ranger in Super Sentai, to date, they update the materials, but that is the same suit that you see from
the very
Himitsu
first
Sentai
Red
Go
Ranger from 1970. Oh, I'm blanking real hard right now.
75? Yeah, 75 till now. Same suit. Up until just a few months ago with this thing, it was the same Kamen Rider 1 suit from 1972 to now. Why did they need to upgrade him? If anything, saying that he needed an upgrade weakens him. Because then he's not the icon you think he is anymore. He needed something extra when up until this point he never did.
Yeah.
And I think when you really look at it in that respect, that's not the best message you want to send. Do you want to sell toys, or do you want to keep this icon as pure as possible?
Toei don't give a...
I guess
they
not.
don't. I'm telling you, they don't. They don't care.
I mean, I might just be going out on a limb with this, but that's kind of the feel I get from it, and that's just from me having been a fan for now 10 years of the franchise and learning as much as I did. But of course, we'll be seeing more about this. The movie comes out later this year on March 26th. So we'll see more about this. They've just started airing the promos for it, tied to the end of Kamen Rider Ghost. Of course, Ghost being featured in it. We don't know why exactly they're connected together, other than they're probably going to have to team up to save Tachibana Tobei's granddaughter.
Okay. Cool.
Yes. So we'll keep you guys up to date on this, and my one hope for the movie, if I have any, is that he ends up in his original suit by the end.
That would be nice.
That would be very nice.
Yes.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to our last story. Bayformers!
So I chose specifically the fourth Transformers movie here, the most...
For good reason.
Because this story relates to China, and in China, that movie banked, because what? A hunk of the movie, it takes place...
Was filmed and takes place there. For this
China.
last one, Transformers was Age of Extinction.
Yeah. So, the reason why we bring that up is because apparently Hasbro is teaming up with a Chinese entertainment group called DMG. DMG Entertainment, apparently they license a whole bunch of American Hollywood movies, and they own and distribute and produce a bunch of Chinese movies, probably most of which none of us have ever heard of. But they're the ones that are making and rolling in all of this dough over there in China when a big Hollywood movie comes out over there. So Hasbro is teaming up with these guys in order to produce something
called Transformers Live.
And so this is really interesting because it kind of sounds like it's a live show, but then the way they describe it makes it sound like it's more than a live show. Like maybe it's interactive. They say it's supposed to be you're supposed to experience intense action, beautiful visual moments, an emotionally engaging story, lots of humor and rousing music. And whatever it is, 4,500 people can all do it all at the same time.
So it's something like a stunt show at a theme park. It seems like
it's in like a stadium or yeah, maybe a stunt show. And I don't understand where it's going to be, because it's not like they announced that it's going to be in, say, for example, Universal Studios. They haven't announced that it's like in a theme park. I wonder if they're going to be touring whatever this thing is.
Or they're just going to build something to hold whatever this is.
Entirely possible. Now, they've also partnered with this company, S2BN Entertainment, who you might know because they also previously produced things like Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. Also the Marvel Experience and Rock of Ages.
Marvel Experience being that touring thing that was going around to only a few cities, Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark being, of course, the musical, and Rock of Ages, of course, being a musical as well. So they're looking for something that has a lot of theatricality here. Now, I'm looking at the list of things, because these are all hype words that they're using here. Fans will experience the intense action, beautiful visual moments. Now, up to that point, that sounds like stuff you can potentially deliver on, but emotionally engaging story... I'm sorry, but that is the one thing the entire Transformers movie franchise has failed to deliver on.
And I'm just wondering if it's gonna be like Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, if it's gonna be like the Marvel experience, what does it mean? Like Transformers?
Well,
people in Transformers costumes are coming down from the rafters, and they're doing like some Cirque du Soleil kind of crap, and
like I don't even know because
Chinese Transformers Cirque du Soleil, everybody, emotionally engaging. What is this? I
see. I don't get how the
understand.
two fit together because you're looking at it. The last thing I need to see is. You're there on the field, you've got Optimus, Bumblebee, Ironhide, and then he's taking on Megatron and Skyscream, and he's there in Chinese saying, Autobots, watch this, and then he gets on the hook, and then he goes up into the sky, and then he's doing all these weird turns and flips and whatnot, and he comes back down. There.
Oh, okay.
And then Starscream's like, we can't put up with those kind of moves! Like, I don't know what kind of story this can possibly tell.
And apparently this is the very first thing ever to be produced by DMG Live. And again, DMG is that Chinese company that licenses all these movies. And
so they're branching out, basically.
Yeah, so they have never done any of this live kind of entertainment before, but they're about to find out whether or not it's going to work.
Well, see, that's kind of the problem that Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark had, because it had been a very long time since anybody had tried to attempt a live-action stage show musical having to surround the story of a superhero, and most people are aware of all the setbacks that they had for several years having to do with that. So when it comes to this, like, what? Because the thing is, it's Transformers, and I imagine it's based off the Bayformers because they're the most worldwide known. But what kind of story could you possibly tell?
Well, I'm telling you, Chinese acrobats! But in Transformers costumes!
See, like, here's the thing, because the bar...
Chinese acrobat Bumblebee!
What does that even mean?
I don't know!
Because you have to, like, put that together. Like, you're telling me emotionally engaging story. This is Transformers. We're talking about fights. I don't need emotionally engaging beyond shoot him. Like, how much more emotion do I need unless you're going to kill Optimus Prime live on stage and have Rodimus show up? Like, if you're going to do that mess, then fine. I might watch that live action, and I might cry. But still, like, yeah, what are we going to expect here? Transformers on ice?
It does sound like it's going to be way more artistic than I typically have pictured Now, nobody said this was going to be a musical. Nobody said that part.
Nobody's saying that, but how... Like, they say there's going to be engaging music, too. So, like, what? Is it just going to be a score, or is at some point, Megatron's going to belt out some...
Oh, not Megatron. He doesn't have a voice to sing. Megatron can't sing. Please don't suggest Megatron's going to sing.
I don't know.
Maybe Galvatron.
Galvatron might
sing.
Maybe
Galvatron's got a silky voice. I don't know about Megatron.
And then they're not even singing, like, original songs. Like, they're just singing top 40 hits.
And then, okay. So the movies have also very heavily focused on humans, too, which always kind of bothered me, but it's not like that has never happened.
Oh, God, no.
What is the size difference between somebody who's supposed to just be a human and then, like, is it gonna be multiple people doing bizarre live puppet art of enormous Transformers?
The interesting thing here is they say they pulled from the Marvel touring experience, which is not the same as Marvel Universe Live. Now, Marvel Universe Live, they got people to basically build a Hulk suit.
Yeah.
Which was pretty cool for what it was. And then here in town, we've actually seen some... Every so often we see those costumers, even when we went out to Universal Studios, in those very large Transformers costumes, which look pretty good.
Yeah, but they're still only so big in comparison to the people that stand next to them,
Like, I'm trying to imagine what they're going to do here, because I imagine, yeah, you're right, the humans are going to play... Like, they're going to be humans interacting with these Transformers characters. I'm just saying, like, is Mark Wahlberg going to learn Chinese for this?
I think we just found a Transformer.
In China. I'm back here again. Hey guys, I'm gonna go get some dim sum. It sounds pretty good. You gonna come with me? Bumblebee, say hi to your mother for me. Like that's... I would almost pay money for that. Alright, now that you mention it, I might want to see Mark Wahlberg in China just chilling, trying to find where he's gonna get dinner.
So we only know so much about this, but I need to know, does it sound crazy enough that you would go to China to see whatever
I don't
the
know
hell
that I would
this
go to
is.
China to see it, but I do imagine if it does well, you know, the day and age that we live in, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook will blow up with the video coming out of China of this is what we've got now, and if it's good enough or interesting enough, people over here will demand it. Bring that to Universal Studios.
Right.
Bring that over as soon as possible because I want to throw money at it. Oh my god, like, man, this now it hits me. So Mark Wahlberg shows up over there in the stage show, and Bumblebee's got a virus, and he's got kind of a shimmy when he transforms into a car, but he's got to work out the shimmy, so that gives Mark Wahlberg an excuse to sing Good Vibrations.
Oh, why would you do that?
Because you can never forget Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
No, I guess not. There's really not much to add to this. I think we've
Because
elaborated...
it's 90% speculation, most of that speculation being about Mark Wahlberg's role.
He's not going to be
gonna
part
do
of the stage show.
I know.
If it even is, like... Because I think it's going to be more than just a stage show, but I don't know how else it's going to be engaging.
Well, because they don't say whether or not it's going to be in an arena setting, if it's just a flat stage.
Because they don't actually say that it's an event. They say that it's, like an attraction? Yeah, it's an attraction.
But that's a very vague description there.
Yeah, I know.
So do they even know what they're building?
Did the guys who wrote Spider-Man Turn on the Dark know what they were building?
Hell no.
As I understand, hell no. So,
yeah, that mess had to be rewritten like 3 times.
So that's about all we know. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that.
I guess in the post-show, you guys can go ahead and throw your theories out at us for what you think this thing is going to be. I'm just saying, you know, see Bumblebee there on stage doing some Bob Fosse numbers.
I don't think it's going to be like that.
No, you never know.
So, I'm going to turn off this picture now, and I'm going to thank you guys so much, because that was our last story for the evening. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, as always, for this past hour. And if you're here with us live right now, we're about to go into our post-show, which is full of Q&A stuff, so I'm so glad that there's so many of you here right now to do Q&A with us. And if you're not here with us live right now, that's okay, but I really wish you would come down. I hope you'll come down next week, next Thursday at 9 p.m. Central, here at youtube.com/marsgirls/live. You get to hang out with these amazing people over here. Typically, the live chat is over here.
Yeah,
but,
they've all had their shots, or so I'm told.
And they're good people. They all get along quite well. I rarely see fighting.
Yes.
It's very, very infrequent. So I hope I'll see you guys there next week.
But in the meantime, you can always talk to us during the week over on Twitter. I'm at Josh Knight First.
And I'm at Mars Girl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys next week.
Good night.